Filmmaking. बहुत कठिन है डगर पनघट की. The road to the water source is very difficult. And me, the writer for writers, is committed to make it easier. Today we are going to examine why is that road difficult. We will not do it by giving a theoretical lecture, but we will do it by examining why certain movies took more than a decade and each of them have different regions, and you'll end up finding out what not to do, how to make that road difficult. So, dear script writers and filmmakers, Writer for Writer welcomes you back to another exciting video. Insightful. Today, think of me as your movie time traveler, taking you across decades of cinematic delays. Some movies take a year to make, some take two, but then there are films so cursed, so delayed, or so ambitious that they take decades before finally hitting the screen. From Bollywood epics stuck in a limbo for 14 years to a Hollywood film trapped in legal hell for nearly half a century. These are the longest delayed movies ever made. And trust me, some of these stories are wilder than the films themselves. Let's find out why some films took more than a decade to complete. Stick around because the number one film on this list took almost 50 years to finish and its director didn't even live to see it completed. Okay, so we'll start with the least delay. Steamboy, released in 2004, took 10 years in making. Launched in the mid-90s by Akira creator Katsuhiro Otomo, this ambitious steampunk anime became Japan's most expensive animated film of its time. With a budget of roughly $20 to $26 million, the project aimed to blend cutting-edge computer graphics with meticulous hand-drawn animation. Over 180,000 drawings and 440 computer graphic cuts in total. The film spent a decade in production, partly due to Otomo's perfectionist approach and the challenges of merging traditional and digital techniques. By the time it released in 2004, expectations were sky high, but box office returns were modest at approximately $10 million against a making budget of $20 to $26 million. It was, though not a blockbuster, Steamboy earned praise for its visuals and remains a landmark in anime history, a testament to the ambition but also to the risks of long development cycle. Next on our list is an Indian movie, Meri, Biwi ka Jawab, released in 2004 after 10 years in Bollywood limbo. Shot in 1994 with stars Akshay Kumar and Sridevi. This Bollywood comedy was delayed by financial disputes and shifting industry trends. When Sridevi retired from films in the mid-90s, the project lost its momentum. It sat on the shelf for a decade. Finally released in 2004, but by then it felt outdated and flopped at the box office. With an estimated budget of about $800,000 and $2 million, its returns were under $500,000, a clear victim of bad timing. Next on our list is a Tree of Palme, released in 2002 after 10 years of hand-drawn dedication. Animator Takashi Nakamura spent 7 years hand-drawing this ambitious film, followed by several more polishing and editing for its release. Inspired by Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy, the movie took a full decade before its 2002 debut. With a budget between $2 and $6 million, it only earned $500,000 to $1.5 million from its limited festival and theatrical run. But its painstaking craftsmanship makes it a hidden gem in Japanese animation. Next on our list is Shoah, released in 1985 after 11 years of memory and testimony. Claude Langeman's monumental Holocaust documentary wasn't delayed by accidents. It simply required immense time. 6 years of field work across 14 countries produced hundreds of hours of interviews with survivors, witnesses, and perpetrators. Editing that material took several more years, bringing the total to 11. Released in 1985, its budget was about $400,000 to about $2 million, produced one of the history's most significant documentaries. Box office was modest at under $2 million, but its cultural weight is immeasurable. Next on our list is Roar, 1981. That was 11 years of real danger, as you will see. Starting 1970s, Noel Marshall shot Roar on his ranch using real lions and tigers. The result was chaos. More than 70 crew and cast members were injured, including Marshall himself. Floods then destroyed equipment and property, setting production back even further. After 11 grueling years, the movie was finally released in 1981. Its 12 to $20 million budget ballooned from endless reshoots and disaster recovery. But box office returns of just 2 to 4 million made it a flop, albeit one with cult notoriety. The next on our list is On the Silver Globe, released in 1988 after 12 years and political censure. Andrzej Jolowski began filming in 1977, but the Polish communist government shut it down in 1978, destroying sets and banning its completion. Jolowski went into exile, but a decade later, he smuggled surviving footage back to Poland, where he reconstructed it with narration filling in the gaps. It premiered at Cannes in 1988, 12 years after being stopped. Budget estimates land between half to $2 million with limited box office, but its story is dramatic as its sci-fi plot. Next on our list is Boyhood, released in 2014, which was by design it took 12 years. Richard Linklater's Boyhood wasn't delayed. It was designed to be a 12-year project. Starting in 2002, Linklater reunited his cast once or twice a year, filming scenes that authentically captured the actors aging in real life. By 2013, it was complete and released in 2014. With a modest $3.5 to $4.5 million budget, it earned 40 to 60 million worldwide and became a critical landmark for its groundbreaking storytelling method. Next on our list is Avatar, The Way of Water, popularly called Avatar 2, released in 2022 after 12 years of tech revolution. After the groundbreaking success of Avatar in 2009, James Cameron promised a sequel within a year. Instead, it took 12 years. Why? He insisted on inventing brand new underwater performance capture technology, rewriting scripts for multiple sequels, and then facing pandemic delays. Finally, in 2022, Avatar, The Way of Water arrived. Its estimated budget was $350 to $400 million, was massive, but it paid off spectacularly with a box office haul of $2.3 to $2.4 billion. Sometimes patience does lead to profit. Next on our list is The Evil Within, released in 2017 after 13 years of obsession. Andrew Getty, heir to the Getty fortune, spent over a decade obsessively working on his horror film. Despite completing filming, his perfectionism and personal struggles, from drug use to health problems, delayed editing for years. In 2015, Getty died before finishing the movie. Post-production was taken over by his editor, and in 2017, the film finally premiered. Costs are estimated at $1 to $3 million, while its box office stayed under 600,000. The result is a chilling legacy project. Next is Pakeezah, an Indian film released in 1972 after 14 years of romance and heartbreak. Filming began in 1958 under Kamal Amrohi, but by 1964, production halted when lead actress Meena Kumari separated from him. The film languished until their reconciliation in the late 1960s and allowed work to resume. Tragically, Meena Kumari died just weeks after the movie's 1972 release, cementing her performance as iconic. With a $150,000 to $600,000 budget and a box office between $500,000 and $3 million, its cultural impact far outweighs its numbers. Next on our list is Mughal-e-Azam, released in 1960. I wasn't born till that time. After 14 years of Bollywood grandeur, the Indian epic was first conceived in 1946, but the partition of India in 1947 derailed the project. Cast and crew changes added further delays, forcing director K. Asif to restart production multiple times. Finally, after 14 long years, it released in 1960. The budget of 0.8 to $2.5 million, massive by Indian standards at that time, paid off in spades with a box office haul of $5 to $20 million, which is 7 to 8 times return on investment. Today, it remains one of the Bollywood's greatest classics and one of my most favorite. Next on the list is Flexing with Monty, released in 2010 with a 16 years of tragedy. Filming began in 1994, but the production was cursed. The producer died during filming, derailing financing. And years later, the lead actor, Trevor Goddard, also passed away. Despite these tragedies, the project limped forward, finally finishing in 2008, only to face further delays before its 2010 release. With a budget estimated at $1 to $3 million, its box office was under $500,000. Tragic tale of loss woven into the film's DNA. Next on our list is Coffee and Cigarettes, released in 2003, and it involved 18 years by design. Unlike most films on this list, Jim Jarmusch's Coffee and Cigarettes wasn't delayed. It was designed to take nearly 2 decades. Very interesting. Starting in 1986, Jarmusch filmed a series of short, quirky vignettes over the years, often with different casts. By 2003, he had enough to assemble them into a feature-length anthology. Its budget was around $600,000 to $1.5 million, while the worldwide box office reached $1 to $3 million. Here, the long timeline wasn't a failure. It was the art itself. Next on our list is Tiefland, released in 1954 after 20 years of controversy. Leni Riefenstahl, infamous for her ties to the Nazi regime, began developing this film in 1934, with shooting taking place from 1940 to 1944. But World War II and her political reputation halted its release. To make matters worse, accusations surfaced that she used forced laborers as extras during production, cementing the film's notoriety. After the war, controversy kept it locked until its eventual release in 1954, a full 20 years after conception. The production cost is estimated to be $0.5 to $2 million in 1940s money, but its commercial success was minimal, overshadowed by scandal. Next on our list is The Tragedy of Man, released in 2011, 23 years of political upheaval. Hungarian director Marcel Jankovic began this animated epic in 1988, but history itself became the biggest obstacle. The fall of communism dismantled Hungary's state film financing system, and the production was repeatedly paused as funding dried up. Work crawled forward whenever money could be scrapped together, and after more than 2 decades, it finally premiered in 2011. With costs estimated between $1 and $5 million, the film had a modest box office return under $1 million, mostly from festival circuits. Still, its survival is a testament to artistic persistence in the face of seismic political change. Next on our list is Mad God, released in 2021 after 30 years of stop motion obsession. Phil Tippett, the stop motion legend behind Star Wars and Jurassic Park, began this passion project in the early 1990s. But as computer generated images took over Hollywood, the project was shelved for more than 20 years. In 2013, Tippett revived it with the help of Kickstarter, a team of volunteer animators. The painstaking process of building miniatures and animating frame by frame meant progress was painfully slow. Finally, in 2021, after 30 years, Mad God was unleashed. Production budget estimates range between 0.3 to 1.2 million, fueled by crowdfunding and in-kind contributions, while its festival and limited theatrical run brought only $50,000 to $400,000. It's a cult triumph born from relentless dedication. And now, the champion story, The Other Side of the Wind, released in 2018 after 48 years in the making. Orson Welles kicked off filming in 1970 and wrapped by 1976. But that was just the beginning of the nightmare. Legal disputes with Iranian backers, tangled rights across borders, and Welles's own financial struggles left the film trapped in a limbo. After Welles's death in 1985, The footage stayed locked away for decades. It wasn't until Netflix stepped in during the 2010s that restoration and post-production were finally funded. In 2018, nearly half a century later, the film finally premiered with an estimated cost of $1 to $5 million, mostly from the 1970s shoot. With Netflix footing the restoration bill, the film didn't earn much at the box office since it was released primarily through streaming. But its resurrection is legendary. And that's it. The movies that took the longest to reach the big screen. Some were passion projects, some were disasters waiting to happen, and a few were saved at the very last second. It really makes us wonder, after waiting decades, was it even worth it? Which one shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more movies, deep dives, and ring that bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep the popcorns ready.